Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody. Dave here from EverTrek. The first thing I think you'll notice today is that it's just me. Fortunately, Andy is away today, so it'll just be me taking you on your Tuesday tune-in journey. Actually, I haven't done it yet. Sorry, are we live?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are live. So yeah, I suppose the first thing I think we should cover off is that we've had a little interesting couple of days here at EverTrek, to be honest. I don't know if you guys have know where we're based or have seen any of the news lately, but certainly we are now going into a local lockdown in Caerphilly, which is right where our office is based. So over the next few weeks and stuff like that, at least we're going to be sort of mixing it up and working from home and things like that. So yeah, I think the next Tuesday tune in the backdrop will be slightly different for us. But hey Sinead, hey Debbie, hey Bri, how's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who's Andy? Yeah, hi Fee, hi Fee. But yeah, so just so you're aware that yeah, over the next few weeks and stuff like that, things are going to be changing from us because we're not entirely sure. Because as always with COVID, nothing's 100% clear. We expect that we might be able to get back to the office at some point, but that'll be sort of as and when. But yeah, on to the business at hand. So today, it's always strange when it's just me on my own and I haven't got anyone to talk to. So I'm going to talk. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so what we're going to talk about today really is something that I know makes a huge difference when I'm actually on the trip. And we call them trek hacks. So all those little things that we've learned, all those little tiny things that we can take care of that actually work up to making the trip far more comfortable, far more easy, and gives you a lot of peace of mind and stuff like that. Who else is here? Hey, Joel. Hey, Ali, Paula, Tamarin, Mark. Patrick, oh Mark, yes, obviously I think you've heard about the isolation that Caerphilly's going to be going into. So yeah, we're fine. The whole group is fine. To be honest, we only see each other anyway. Yetis tend to be quite an insular group. We don't tend to have like too many sort of interactions with the non-Yetis. But yeah, awesome. So yeah, one thing I wanted to say as well, like today I'm going to be talking about some of the treks that I've personally used, and I know Andy has personally used, that have made a big difference for us when we've been to Nepal and when we've been to Tanzania, and all the other treks that we do, even if it's locally. But one thing is, if you guys have got any sort of trek hacks that you have used or you found to be awesome, let me know. Drop me a comment, drop me an email, and what I'm going to do is put them into a blog. So it's going to be a trek hack blog put together by you guys, the EverTrekkers, and I'm going to put it out there, and all the other EverTrekkers that want to do it can see what's worked for me, what's worked for you. Yeah, so you guys can get some content out there as well. So it'd be pretty awesome. Hey there, Dave. Lisa, tuning in from work, hoping the boss doesn't catch me. To be honest, this is more important than what you've got to do today, Lisa. So yeah, just give your boss some headphones and maybe he can learn some trek hacks as well. Awesome. Yeah, so I think the first couple of hacks that I'm going to talk about, this is weird because it's just me talking today. So please do interrupt me with any questions or anything like that. Oh, I've had a couple of ones here. So already we've had one. Let me bear me 1 second. There we go. So yeah, I think the first few ones that I'm going to talk about now are going to be ones that specifically that I found that helped me actually acclimatize. So as you know, we're all about the high altitude. Every trip that we go takes you to high altitude. So each trip that you guys go on, you're going to have to go through the acclimatization process. And there are a couple of little tiny things that you can do to make that process a bit easier. So yeah, one of the most important, obviously, is drinking water. You need to drink, I tend to drink about 4 to 5 liters a day because I'm a bit of a sweater. But they're generally 3 to 3.5 liter minimum. Is what you need in order to sort of make sure that your body's acclimatizing. Now, I remember the first trip that I ever went on to Nepal, to Everest base camp, and I was trying to drink 4 liters a day, and it's more than double what I normally would. It was actually surprisingly hard to get that much plain water down me. So I bought these little squash things. Now, squash hydration tablets that have like a flavor to it or something like that makes a huge difference. So these little squirty Robinson's bottles, but I think I had some Aldi's own ones as well. Couple of squirts in the bladder, in the water bottle, honestly, it makes such a massive difference. You can get like, 4 or 5 liters of water down relatively easy. If it's lovely, tasty squash, you can just neck it down. Hey, Mick, how's it going? Hey, Kirsty. Hey, Karen. Yeah, we're all safe here in Wales. Honestly, we're fine. Yeah, we're going to be leaving the office, but other than that, everything's totally good. So yeah, guys, honestly, if you're going to be making a packing list, one of the things you should definitely have on there is like some form of flavoring for your water, whether that be squash, hydration salts, or anything like that, even Barocca and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's always good. I see Bright number 1 hack, always find a hydration buddy. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that's adequate hydration, but certainly in Kathmandu it will make you a lot happier. Yeah, the other one is about sort of snacks, calories, and things like that, because one of the things that I think makes a huge difference, as you guys know, any of you that have done like EBC know that every time you go to a lodge, the menu is largely the same. It all tastes the same. And getting those calories in can get quite tough because altitude, you lose your appetite and things like that. So one of the things that I always do is I have like a fairly substantial stash, sometimes at the sacrifice of other things. If I've got to lose a couple of pairs of boxers to get my snacks in, then I'll do it. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. But yeah, having like adequate snacks brought from home that you enjoy, that aren't necessarily just like these like grenade power bars or something like that. I do have a few of them, but they're dry, and protein bars aren't that great. If you like Mars bars, bring Mars bars. Lots of people bring those Haribo Tangtastics, because you'd be surprised, in that sort of sharp sour flavor is really lacking on the mountains. But one of the things particularly for the meat eaters among you all, we recommend a vegetarian diet on all of our treks. So you can stay healthy and avoid any like gastric trouble and stuff like that. I think one of the things that always makes a big difference is those little packs of like jerky that you can get. Say you're on an 11-day trip to EBC, you can get 10 or 9 of those packs, and then every so often you can just have one of those, and it just makes a big difference. It also keeps your body is used to eating meat. It's used to using the energy in a certain way. Having some of those hydrated packs of like beef jerky can make like a huge difference. But yeah, so that it makes a thing. Mind you, I was just thinking, last time I was in Hampshire, I found some, and it was called dried hygienic meat, which I think was jerky. Yeah, dried hygienic meat. And another one which we found was what was it? That was it, cuttlefish coated peas. And like I looked at them and I was like, nah, not having cuttlefish coated peas. But yeah, anything like that you want to try and stay away from. But also a little tip that I've heard for the the vegetarians, and particularly the vegans as well, is that like these Percy pigs you can get from Marks and Spencer, I want to say. Yeah, getting a nod. Marks and Spencer, they're like totally vegan, so good for anyone that doesn't want to eat meat or any animal stuff. And they're a really tasty snack and stuff like that. So yeah, awesome. Awesome. I see we're getting some questions here. Can you buy squashies, etc. over there? Is it best to bring them? Bring them with you. So that's Richard that said that, so I can bring that in. Yeah, so bring those with you. I've not seen them in Nepal, so always bring it. And they're only small and stuff like that. Just for most of the time, if you're going to put them in your day pack or anything, they will get taken off you. So just put them in your regular pack and stuff like that. I actually have like a little like snack bag dedicated to snacks. It takes up quite a large part of my bag. But yeah, that's what I'll do. So bring that stuff with you. To be honest, bring anything with you that you're not 100% certain, because although you might be able to get it one day, you might not be able to get it in next. So Sinead said, take your own snacks from home if you're gluten-free vegan. Yeah, exactly. They do have that sort of stuff in Nepal, but it's not always available. I didn't see much of anything that was, free from, so to speak, in Tanzania. So but a lot of fresh vegetables and stuff like that, but obviously that's not going to be good to take in on a hike with you. So yeah, that's take it with you. George Clark, Tantastics are always in my pocket on every Monroe I do, and of course a mint bar. Yeah, definitely. You do surprisingly see a lot of that. What they call the Kendall mint cake and stuff like that. If it's good enough to get someone to the top of Everest, then it's good enough to get us to base camp. So I always have them. I tend to like stuff that's like a bit sharp, like a bit like sour or sharp or tart and stuff like that. That makes a big difference. So yeah, that's awesome. A couple of other hacks that I have. I'm going to kind of dip in and then go back to some questions. One we've talked about a lot, and I know I've posted about, is power banks. I generally bring 2 power banks, the 26,800 size Anchor power bank. The reason why I bring 2 of them is because that's enough for the entire trip. I don't have to worry about adapters. It's, you know, good on the plane, and it lasts me for, you know, the entire trip. So power banks are a huge must, I think. Otherwise, it's kind of annoying to have to be searching for power, leaving your phone, you know, downstairs or upstairs when you're charging it. It's, you know, people like to sit and send pictures and do stuff like that. So power banks make a big difference. Let's have a look here. So I can see Bri, so cheap way to keep in touch with home. Took a Wi-Fi dongle, bought a local SIM, and 10 people could log on at the same time. Yeah, awesome idea. Another thing you can do if no one has got a dongle, so the Wi-Fi, when you're out there, we hear a lot of people talk about getting, you know, like a local phone, using a local SIM card and stuff like that. You can definitely do that. But if you're just after the Wi-Fi, they sell these scratch cards in every lodge where you scratch and you get a login for the shared network, and then you're able to sort of go on. However, they're very expensive if you buy a smaller size card at every lodge. When you get to Namche, for around sort of $20-$25, something like that, you can get one that gives you the login, but with a larger amount of data, so it'll last the whole trip. So every time I go to Namche, I pick up one of them and I use it, you know, from pretty much Tengboche above. If you're on Kilimanjaro, you will get phone signal for, I think, the last 4 days. The first 4 days on the Lamosha route, not much signal. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, so right, one of the other hacks that I was going to talk about, which I use a lot now. I used to have quite long hair, not so much anymore, but keeping it clean when you're not able to shower and stuff on the trail is dry shampoo. I also bring talc as well to help with chafing. However, I was doing a bit of research into this and making the list this morning, and I had some news that was new to me, and I don't know how I missed it. Talc can be quite, I think, unhealthy, particularly for girls, I think. And there's a lot of, you know, stories about, you know, maybe it might even be like a carcinogenic or something, and there might be a risk of certain cancers. So yeah, wow, talc might be like completely removing that from my list of stuff now, because I've been using it, like, I would say, in an unhealthy amount, like on all of my treks. You know, my head quite often looks like a frosted ice gem after I've like put a load on there. But yeah, didn't know that. Yeah, any of you know anything more about talc? Let me know.
You should be fine for your hair.
You think so?
I'd say that's like minimal.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the breathing in. You know, because sometimes it's hard to see. That's how much is in the air around me, like when I put it on. You know, so yeah. Let's have a look. So we got here's Paula. So if you decide to go veggie on the trip, do you need to start maybe a week before? Not necessarily. So I suppose I try to be vegetarian. I suppose the correct term is flexitarian. So, you know, I do my best to sort of limit the amount of meat that I eat, but I will still eat it. And I usually just kind of go cold turkey. So I'll stop eating meat pretty much when I fly to Lukla. And then I'll do the whole trip. So Lukla, back down to Lukla, and I won't eat meat again until I get back there. And I've never really noticed too much of a problem, but some people I have heard have had some difficulty adjusting, you know, to the vegetarian diet, which is why I recommend, you know, if that is the case, then I think, yeah, definitely, you know, bring some like jerky and stuff like that, because it makes a big difference. Good question here. Now, we've talked about this a few times. George Clark. Solar power banks, any good? I've not ever successfully found one that I think works as well as it's advertised. Now, I know some of them do work, but it's the way we're going in, you know, the high altitude regions of the world, the weather can be unpredictable. And if you're going to, say, Death Valley, you know, in California, then I would say, yeah, probably that would be amazing, you know, when you've got like 18 hours of hot sunshine every day. But where we're going, it can be cloudy and then open and then cloudy and then open. So personally, I don't bring the solar power ones. Also, they're quite big and clumsy, and carrying them and stuff like that is a nightmare. So if it was up to me, I would, and you know, it often is when I go, I bring the power banks that you charge, and then get a charge out of them. You know, I would love the solar ones to work. I quite like the idea of getting all my energy, you know, from the sun and not having to rely on electricity from a wall socket, but they just don't work in my opinion. Or at least I've not found one that has worked well enough to be able to be relied upon for an entire trip. Let's have a quick look. So we got loads of, if you don't breathe, okay, so Karen Bade. If you don't breathe clouds of it in, gets in the ovaries, fetuses, etc. So yeah, not good. So yeah, more bad talc. So yeah, I'm actually thinking that talc is done. In fact, I'm going to, talc's gone. Yeah, the other thing that I found as well, so this is particularly, I think, for summit night on Kilimanjaro and, you know, maybe when you do Kalapatar on EBC and stuff like that, is obviously you're getting up really, really early. It's really, really cold. And then I had a stash of hand warmers, but I didn't actually use them on my hands because they just felt too hot. They don't, you know, they sort of like feel like they burn the surface of your hand rather than like warming it. But what I did do with them was I cracked open two, put them one in each sock, and then I put the sock and the hand warmers in each boot. It won't last all night, so I put it in at about 3-4 a.m. And then when I woke up to do Kalapatar or go to the summit of Kili, you put on lovely warm socks and boots. I mean, so it just means you're not putting on cold boots and stuff like that. You'd be surprised how much these little things make a difference to your sort of mindset. And you know, if your mind is right, you feel energetic and you're able to go out and do these things like get to Kalapatar. If you wake up and you see your boots and they've got a bit of frost on them and they're cold and they feel wet and damp, nah, no one's idea of fun. Let's have a look here. So on a conference call with a client, he's now interested. Awesome. Ramona, pass him my email. But yeah. Yeah, so a lot of people say now that talc on the feet and stuff like that is okay, as long as it doesn't actually get inside the body and stuff like that. Tut tut, Dave, you've done so well with my name. I did the French.
I was about to call you out on this.
I said Bardet, didn't I? It's Bardet. Yeah, I did. I don't know why that is. I'm so sorry, Karen. I think for the last 2 weeks I've been doing really well with it. But you know, the first time I saw it, my brain registered it as Bardet. And then for some reason it refuses to ignore it. So let's have a look now. So David Roy's asked an interesting question, so which was about could you do the Kilimanjaro trip if you have sleep apnea? Is there any way of plugging in the mask overnight? So I can't find his question to bring it in. Yeah, I can. Okay, so we've had this question once before, but it was about EBC. Now, in Kilimanjaro, you're intense. So unless you can actually bring a portable power pack with you that you can be sure is going to be reliable for the 7 days, then I would say probably not possible to, you know, plug it in and keep it running. I think if that, you know, if you need that, and, you know, I think altitude can bring on some symptoms of sleep apnea like that, you know, suddenly stop breathing and wake up and stuff like that. So yeah, personally, I don't know much about it to confidently say, you know, you would be able to go there. It depends on how you feel you need to manage the sleep apnea. What I will say is that it's unreliable in terms of power. So, you know, there are places where you can, if it's like mobile and you can charge it, potentially that can be done. But if it needs to be plugged in every night, certainly not Kilimanjaro, because you're going to be in a tent. If you're in base camp, a lot of the lodges, like power is not reliable because a lot of the lodges rely on solar power. Again, same problem with the, you know, the portable ones. You know, if the clouds come in, the power can be cut off and then you might be left without it. So it all depends on how you feel you need to manage it. If it's something you need every night, and it has to happen in order for you to stay safe, then I would say probably best to avoid it. You know, but I'm sure if you want to drop me a message and we can work out some requirements, you know, I never want to say no to anybody. So if there's some special things we can do to make it work, maybe on EBC, if not Kili, then perhaps we can work that out for you. Yeah, Ali, yeah, talc is awful. I was going to ask if I have an alternative to talc. Not well. I mean, to be honest. Sorry, what was that?
Cornflower.
Cornflower, I'm being told. Yeah, so that's from the Bimblin Yeti Fee.
We haven't tried it. It was a Google.
Oh, it was it was a Google, was it?
People blame
yeah, I've used it to thicken a stew before. I've never put it on my head. or in
It wouldn't work.
yeah. So, but no, yeah. Well, there we are, cornflour. So, Ali, if you can nip out this afternoon and try some cornflour for me, and let me know if that does help with chafing or cleaning your hair, I'd be more than happy to put it out there. Yeah. So, yeah, really good. Right. Okay. What else did I have to talk about? Yeah. So, the one that I really, really like, because it depends how messy a packer you are, but packing cubes, they are brilliant. They've completely like revolutionized the way that I like, pack my duffel bag. I even label them so I know where everything is and everything's neat and tidy. And the reason why that's a big help is if I use Kili, for example, when I was there in February, there's only two of us to a tent. The tent's very small. You wake up in the night, you want to try and find something, you want to find your paracetamol, and your bag's a complete mess. It is a nightmare. You wake up the person next to you, you get stressed and stuff like that. So it's not great. However, these packing cubes are brilliant. Literally, just put your head torch on, look there, look there, look at medicine, brilliant. And when you are putting your stuff in the packing cubes, now this is something I even learned today, roll everything in and then sort of line them up side by side. That way, you don't have to sort of lift 1, 2, 3 items to get one out that you need. Magical. I learned that again today. It's amazing. Yeah, okay, thank you. Karen has let me off. See, Sinead, you have jumped in here. Zinc oxide tape. Yes, that was on my list that I was going to talk about today. I never used it before I went to Kili. And it's really strange. Like I had just one little hot spot, like on the side of my little toe. And then one of the guys recommended this zinc oxide tape. I put it on, it's perfect, worked brilliantly. I have heard a lot of stuff about Compeed as well. I've never actually used a Compeed, but Fee is adamant that Compeed is brilliant, so I'm obligated to mention Compeed.
There are other brands available.
Yeah, there are other brands. Well, we're not the BBC. Compeed. Yeah, so we're going to have a look here. Karen let you off, Andy. Oops, Dave. Yeah, brilliant. To be fair, Karen, yeah, I am also someone that gets their name wrong. I almost want to get a T-shirt that says like my name's Dave and an arrow. But yeah, thank you. Let's have a quick look now. So Amanda Joy Hilton, our sleeping bag line is defo worth taking. The answer is yes, 100%. For a couple of reasons. If you're renting one, they're not brand new. They're cleaned the best that they can, but they may retain some evidence of previous use in either smell or a little bit of dirt or something like that. So if you are renting a sleeping bag, having a liner just means that you're comfortable, because whatever is next to your skin is brand new and fresh and clean. And secondly, they do make a noticeable difference in terms of how warm you are. Especially the silk ones, I think they're quite insulative and stuff like that. So yeah. I'm getting to Marie Kondo folding. Does anyone know what that means?
It's the technique, the packing technique.
Oh, is that the packing technique? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, David Roy, yeah, keep in touch, mate. Yeah, drop me a message, because I'm keen to make everybody, an adventure possible for everybody. So if there's something that I can do, or I can talk to one of the guys on the trips and we can work it out, I'll make it happen for you. Let's have a look. Okay, well, Sinead has now said, one for the ladies, altitude can really affect your cycle. Be prepared even if you aren't expecting. I've not ridden my bike to altitude, to be honest.
Oh, I was so slow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take your word for that, Sinead, but yeah, ladies, take notice of that as well. Okay, let's have a quick look. Packing cubes, where from? Amazon, to be honest. Osprey do sell them, but they're crazy expensive to get the Osprey ones, So I've just ordered a load off Amazon. You can buy like a multi-pack of, say, 10 bags, all different sizes. So yeah, go on Amazon, and I think I paid around, it was about between 10 and 15 quid. And I bought a couple of sets just so I've got more than I need. So yeah, perfect. Let's have a look. Debbie Bothroyd has said OEX do good ones from Go Outdoors. I'm assuming we're talking about packing cubes here. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, Go Outdoors are great. I'm big fan of Go Outdoors. That discount card is gets renewed annually. Yeah, see, James has actually said Osprey make really good ones. That's wrong. James actually has said, yeah, they make really good ones. They do, James, but they're just too expensive for me. you know, I really don't mind them like it. But what's in it? A good hack is to take dog treats. Are you saying that like is that to like feed the little fellas you see on the trail and stuff like that? If so, big fan of that, James. Big fan of that. I mean, you know, make sure you get your rabies jabs before you do it, guys. But yeah, you know, I've always said, you know, if I see a dog on a trail, it's getting petted, you know, and yeah, dog treats, awesome idea. Let's have a look. So, okay, right. The other one that I was going to talk about was zinc oxide tape is a pea ball. This can make a huge difference, particularly, you know, if, you know, you're in a tent or something like that, and, you know, you don't want to get up and traipse across the campsite and, you know, worry about tripping, you know, over some guy ropes or something like that. It even works in the lodges and stuff like that. Not everyone is really comfortable getting up in the night and, you know, walking, you know, to the toilets and stuff like that. So yeah, I think having like a pee bottle there is brilliant. You just pee in it in the night, pour it away in the morning. You know, some people say they'll use them for warmth. I personally don't recommend it. The other thing, whilst I'm on the topic of peeing, the toilets in the lodges. Many of you I know have been to EBC, and many of you I know will recognize that the toilets are not the most fragrant places in the world, or they all are, depending on, you know, whether we're talking about rank. So yeah, Tiger Balm widely available over here, everywhere in the pool. A little bit of Tiger Balm, a little bit on the lip like that. It's all you can smell. Perfect. It makes going to the toilet far more comfortable. So a little hack there. So yeah, Jerome, rabies, avoid. Well, rabies is one of those ones where it is prevalent in Nepal, but it tends to be in the lowlands. It's not really in the mountains, although, you know, it's in Nepal. So that's the rule that we take. It's one of those where we say it's an optional vaccination, meaning that it's something that I'm not going to advise you to do or not to do. I can tell you what I've done, which is I've got fully vaccinated for it, purely because I'm a frequent traveler to these countries. You know, so it tends to be like a little bit of you know, a concern of mine, and it's one of those things that, you know, once you get, you're kind of screwed if you develop symptoms. So personally, I get it. It's optional, so it's down to your comfort level as to whether you get it or not. If you're not vaccinated, then I'd probably say just don't touch anything. Don't touch animals. Don't feed cats. Don't do anything like that. Just, you know, admire them from afar.
Boring.
I know it is boring, but, you know.
I always kind of say to people, like, if you're the type of person that you see the monkey, you cuddle the monkey, you get the rabies.
Not a monkey. No, I've seen those bad boys go at each other. They are not to be trifled with. Yeah, so Mark, trekking poles, not just for oldies, a revelation. To be honest, mate, yeah, I completely agree. So for years and years, I've never used trekking poles. And then I used to just use one just for a bit of balance and stuff like that. When you're on the glacier, it's handy to put out there. But actually, I tried them out not last October, April, when I went to EBC, and I decided that just as a trial, so I can have some personal experience, I would try trekking poles. So I used 2 for the whole time, and you'd be amazed. 1 day, not much difference. 2 days, not much difference. Over 11 days, yeah, I was finding like my aches, pains, the joints and stuff like that were fine. You know, I was able to go up steep gradients with less exertion because I was getting my arms involved in the process. So yeah, personally, yeah, trekking poles, I always have 2 in the rucksack now, whatever trip that I do, because they do just make a bit of a huge difference. Let's have a look. So Jerome, actually, he was referring to the dog treats. Yeah. And so Ali has said, flashlights mainly for peeing at night. Do you recommendation regarding high candle power, small size? So not really. We often get asked that sort of question. You know, I used to be quite that specific. You know, what lumen level do I need, you know, for my head torch? To be honest, there's no strict one. When we're trekking, you just need to be able to illuminate the path ahead of you. I use a black diamond one. But I know that Petzl, is it Petzl? I think do some really popular ones. They're probably the most widely seen ones on the mountain. The Tika, I think it's called the Petzl Tika. I personally use the black diamond. You know, I can post about it. I'll put a link in there, or maybe Lauren can try and find my black diamond one and put it in there. Yeah, just to put Lauren on the spot. But yeah. So Amanda Joy Hill, I was going to ask, many cats on the route to BBC. I've only seen two. And it was in between Lukla and Nampshi when I saw these two little kittens playing around. So I'm assuming that they are there. And I didn't see many rats or anything like that. So there must be cats. But no, you'll see them in Kathmandu. But honestly, if you're not vaccinated for rabies, I wouldn't feed them. I have heard a story of someone, although it was in Thailand, who was feeding a cat and got scratched. And then didn't think anything of it because it wasn't a bite and it wasn't a dog or a bat or anything, and actually ended up having rabies. So yeah, don't feed them unless you're sort of vaccinated. That's my advice. Let's have a look. So Asha, any tips for runny noses when hiking in cold temperatures? Cetal and I always get constant sniffles. Yeah, do you know what? It's to do with the cold. So the best thing that you can do for it is to keep your sort of neck and face warm. Now, so what you can do if you're always getting it is just pull up like a buff and just have it up over your nose. So if you keep your nose warm, you'll get less of that. It's to do with the cold. So you get a lot of that happening. For some reason, it brought to mind as well that whenever people are trekking as well and they don't use trekking poles, they get like fat finger syndrome. So I'd be interested to know if any of you guys get that, where honestly your hands swell and you end up with fingers like, Frankfurters. Actually using poles, doing that keeps the blood going into your hands, which actually stops them swelling as well. But yeah, I'd be interested to know if any of you guys at altitude have ever got like fat finger syndrome. But yeah, the sniffles and everything, it's always to do with how cold in your nose is. So keep your chest warm and your face warm, at least from the nose down, and that should stop it. So yeah, that'll make a big difference. Let's have a look. Yeah, so Tamron gets swollen hands. Yeah, honestly, trekking poles. If you don't have trekking poles, then have them in, keep doing this on your jacket and stuff like that. But yeah, it does make a huge difference. I was in Nampshi and I was sat there and I was looking at two girls and they were like looking at their hands and complaining like, why is this happening? And I was like, so I was talking to them and they actually went off to Nampshi to buy poles and stuff like that. And I caught them a few days later in Dingboche. And they said it worked. It was brilliant. So yeah, makes a big difference. Yeah, let's have a quick look. Yeah, sausages. Yeah. One thing I was going to also talk about as well was I think Sinead has mentioned it, is sunscreen. So yeah, sunscreen is like vitally important. I mean, it might even move from sort of hack status to sort of essential status. In fact, if it hasn't, I'm going to do that today. Yeah, so when you're trekking at altitude, the sun's UV rays are much stronger than they are at sea level. So even though your skin might not be feeling like it's burning, there is a risk of sunstroke or heat exhaustion and stuff like that. So definitely, pile on the sunscreen, keep your head covered as well. And again, you'll just feel more energetic. You won't feel lethargic and you'll lose some, you'll be nauseous. I've seen a number of people, mainly in Nepal, get sort of heat exhaustion and mistake it for altitude sickness and then get panicky and want to go down. Luckily, it hasn't happened on any of our trips, but certainly some people in the lodges who I know have been in the sun all day, haven't had their head covered, and then they start to feel unwell and feel nauseous and like they want to throw up. And it's actually heat exhaustion, and it's not altitude. So yeah, keeping your head covered and your skin protected from the sun makes a huge difference. Sunglasses as well, vitally important. Let's have a quick look. Yeah. So Karen Bardet, can you buy fabric tissues? I think the site is called, I think the site is called At Keep or Keep At, similar. Should be, oh, right, okay, yeah, interesting little tip there. I'll make a note of that. Yeah, fabric tissues, awesome. Let's have a quick look now. So I was just about to bring in Fee's question then, but it wasn't a question. Yeah.
An update.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and there's a couple of other things as well. So I always have a miniature pack of Gorilla Tape, which is like this duct tape. Why? For everything. One time when I was trekking, my laces broke at midday. So I literally just wrapped my ankle and down under the foot with the tape until I could get to a lodge and buy some laces. So yeah, brilliant. Let's have a look. Ramona has brought in some stuff here. I really find this stuff interesting because obviously I don't have any personal experience, with any sort of like lady specific concerns while trekking. So, I don't tend to write enough about it probably. So if anything like this or any sort of tips like this that you ladies have that you think is going to be valuable, then message it into me. Drop me an email, info@evertrek.co.uk, and I'll write a blog about it and stuff like that.
They can also, if anyone has any questions that they prefer to speak to a lady about, they can email.
Yes.
We have ladies.
Yeah. So yeah, we
ladies
do.
Available.
Yeah, we do have some ladies. So yeah, as Lauren said, yeah, if if any of you ladies want to ask a question that you would feel awkward asking me or Andy about, then one of the EverTrek female branded Yetis will be able to help you. Yeah, so the other one that I was going to talk about as well, wet wipes. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring up wet wipes is because I've been recommending them for a long time. What I've perhaps understated is that I never leave them on the mountain with me. So always with my wet wipes, I'll always have some dry bags as well, even if it's just a carrier bag that I bring with you. Although I'd recommend not doing that because it's classed as a single-use plastic and we're trying to keep all that stuff off the mountain. So generally what I'll do is buy some of those multi-use wet dry bags or stuff sacks, whatever you want to call them. And I'll have one for sort of like rubbish, like wrappers and things like that I'll bring down, and then another one where I'll put like all my wet wipes and stuff like that. And then as soon as I'm back in town and I can dispose of them properly, then that's what I'll do. Believe it or not, I've even brought them all the way back to the UK before now and disposed of them here because I couldn't find a place to get rid of them. So if you are bringing wet wipes or anything like that, also make sure that you've got a bag to put all the waste in and stuff like that so you can take it back with you. So have a quick look. So recommendations for glasses fogging up at altitude. The glasses that I always use are Jublos, which are really, really good. Or Jublos, yeah. They're really, really good. They're sort of I say the industry leader when it comes to high altitude. So I think they're really the best ones. I've not had much issues with them fogging up. But generally speaking, that might be because I suppose when I sweat and stuff like that and I'm out of a breeze, then I might get them fogged up. The only thing that I know of but I've not tried is you can put a spray on the front of them which stops moisture gathering on the glasses so they don't spray, so they don't fog up. I've never used them. Normally I just whip them off, give them a dry and put them back on again. But if it is that much of a problem where it's like you've got glasses on all the time and it's doing your head in, try that spray that stops moisture gathering on the front. That might make a big difference. Oh, by the way, Paula has said, thank you, Lauren and Fee. So, yes. Oh, is it that water bottle sitting beside is taunting me? Yeah. Leah, well, I am working on getting one sent over to Australia. So, the one thing I reassure you about is it will arrive. I guarantee you. Let's have a look. So, Sitala said, are the toilets in the guest house and the EBC holes in the floor? They do exist. Generally speaking, in most of the lodges, there'll be two types. So there'll be the long drop and then there'll be a normal toilet. They won't have a flush or anything like that. It'll just be a toilet for you to sit on. The flush you'll have to do yourself by usually there's a big barrel of water and then a jug inside, and you just scoop it up and pour the water down, and all the tissues and stuff go in a little bin on the side. So yeah, I've done an entire EBC trip and I've not used a long drop in the lodges. If you stop on the trail or something like that, you might have to have what we call a wildie. So, find a rock or a bush, or there might be a toilet even on the trail, but generally speaking, those ones will be the hole in the ground. So yeah, poles can actually help with that as well. So you can kind of support yourself on that. They make a big difference. Let's have a quick look at the questions that we've got. I've been telling my, so Ramona, I'll bring you in on mute now with the conference call. I've been telling my male client about the risks of high altitude, the pill and blood clots. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's really interesting. I'm going to do a little bit of research about that as well. Try and find out about that because, yeah, I think if that's a definite risk, then, I'd love to write about it and make sure people knew. Let's have a quick look. So do people use Vicks to help with the smell? Yeah, Tiger Balm, generally speaking, on the pole because it's so widely available. But yeah, 100%. Put a little of that on your nose. You can walk around, deal with the smell. No toilet is off limits then with Vicks and stuff like that. So that's brilliant.
So just put Jerome's question.
No, I haven't. Let's have a quick look.
On the base camp treks, do they get to hear about the local weather conditions for the next day to help you and then dress appropriately?
Yes, so the guides will have that information. Generally, it might be that they do have phones with Wi-Fi, so they'll be checking the weather and stuff like that. A lot of them as well are sort of experienced enough to sort of rely on weather patterns and what one thing leads into. So what will happen is at the beginning and the end of every day, you'll have a little briefing off the guide. So what will happen is, the guide will tell you a little bit about, where you're going to go, how long it's going to take, what you're going to see, and he'll also tell you, make sure you pack your waterproof, make sure you pack your down jacket and stuff like that. So, you're not left out in the rain or out in the cold without the adequate protection and stuff. So yeah, the guides that we use. I always say this, I would tell you this even if it wasn't true, but it absolutely is. The guides that we use are the best in the business. They just are. Both in all the destinations that we go to, we put a lot of effort in. We always go there. We always, complete the trips, and the guides that we have, I've got the utmost respect for. They're so knowledgeable. And they're so experienced that they know exactly, all of these questions and stuff are always in their mind, and they're always looking out for you. So yeah, you'll know about the weather and what to bring at the beginning and end of every day, guaranteed. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so I'm not sure. Have I missed any questions, Lauren? Have I missed any? I know I've got one more one, which is like earplugs or noise cancelling headphones, which make a huge difference, particularly if you're in a tent because the walls are so thin. And if you've got a snorer sleeping next to you, I always sleep with noise cancelling headphones in and stuff like that. It makes a huge difference. I think one tip that I wanted to share with everyone that's not mine, and I've not done it, but it was used by an EverTrekker, Rasheen, on Kilimanjaro. When we're talking about snacks and all of that sort of stuff, she did an amazing thing, which was every single day for each day of the trip, she had a little bag with snacks for that day and an uplifting message. And that could be something you write yourself to motivate you. You could, if you're going on an 8-day trip to Kilimanjaro, you could ask 8 of your family and friends and loved ones to write you a message. And then every day then you would open that, see the message for the first time, and have a huge mindset boost and stuff like that. And yeah, absolutely amazing. And I think, I've not actually done it, but I've seen the benefits of that type of thing on the mountain, and I think opening one of them when you get to the summit of Kilimanjaro, I think you'd have to be dead inside not to shed a tear, I think.
I'm so going to do that for you next trip you go on.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw in one abusive one.
Yeah.
Motivational.
Yeah, I think I would need a bit, like seriously, Dave, you've been sat there too long.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's have a quick look. So, did I miss any questions, Lauren?
Did you answer about runny noses? I can't remember.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I think that is.
Yeah. So I think that's it from me today, guys. Yeah, always up for any sort of knowledge and anything like that. So remember, guys, if you guys want to email me, leave some recommendations in the comments, and you've got some awesome trek hacks and stuff like that, I'll put it into a blog, I'll give you credit, and I'll put it out there, and it'll be something that our customers can download and have a look at, and yeah, your name will be remembered forever. Yeah, awesome. So for myself, yeah, it's great. I think Andy is back next week. I'm actually off next week, but I might be around to do the live, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, either way, it'll most certainly be from home. Awesome, guys. It's been great. I've heard my own voice for quite long enough, so I'm sure you guys have. Have an awesome week. Look after yourselves. Drop me a message if you need anything. And yeah, all the best, guys. Bye.
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 I like that idea of little motivational messages.